Hello and welcome to my channel. If you clicked on this video today, you are here for a tarot card reading telling you what message your spirit guide has for you. Before I start and get into the reading, I just want to say this is my first video on this channel and I'm incredibly nervous and I'm probably going to stumble a little bit over my words and getting the meaning out of these spreads, and I apologize in advance. I am very, very nervous to be uploading this online because tarot card readings are something I find very personal, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. They're a very personal thing to do, even if this is a very small channel, and even if 2 people watch this is still very nerve-wracking for me. But yeah, I'm also going to point out that this is a generalized reading. As you can see, there's only 3 decks, and this isn't just for one person. This is very generalized, so if something doesn't resonate with you, it might resonate with someone else. And another thing I want to point out is not everyone does their readings the same way. I tend to do mine more intuitively and based more off of how I'm feeling, because that's just the way I feel like I should be doing it. And I know a lot of other people do their readings differently. But yeah, I have 3 piles here, so you can go ahead and pick whichever pile you feel resonates with you the most. This is pile number 1, and this is the stone with it. Sorry if this doesn't focus very well. This is pile number 2, and this is the stone. And pile number 3. This is a really pretty one. So yeah, go ahead and pick which pile you feel the most drawn to. And please be sure you're picking with your intuition and not picking with your eyes. If you need to pause the video, that's okay, to make sure that you are picking the right pile for you. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started with pile number 1. So, pile number 1, let's put the stone up there. So, that's interesting. Sorry if this layout is kind of not ideal. So if you can't see, there is the High Priestess, the World, which is one of my favorite cards, so I'm going to show that one. It's really pretty. See, it's got the elements. If you can't tell, I use the Dragon Tarot because I tend to feel more drawn to draconian energy and magic. The Death. 3 of Cups. Get that out of the way. 5 of Wands in reverse, and if I can pick it up, King of Swords. So, pile number 1, I feel was happening here is there might be a lack of energy going on. I don't know if maybe someone in your life might be taking up a lot of your time and energy, or maybe you you have been doing something that has taken a lot of your time and energy lately, and maybe you feel you haven't had time to do stuff that you want to be doing. There's definitely some negative energy happening in here somewhere. I feel what needs to happen is some new experiences. Maybe some new people need to come into your life. I'm getting a lot of energy out of this. I feel there definitely needs to be some energy renewal happening. So maybe some Reiki or something of the like, if you're into that, I feel like you're someone who probably doesn't pay a lot of attention to like yourself in a way. Like, I feel like you're someone who definitely pays more attention to like your outside like surroundings in a sense, to where like you want to focus on other things and not like focus internally but focus outwardly, which is okay. But I feel like the message here is that you need to focus more like internally and making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Oftentimes when I see this card in reverse, because it represents the world and it has all the elements, so technically like when I see this card I think of balance, because the elements are supposed to be in balance a lot of the time, you know, like I don't know if like you understand what I'm saying, but I see balance when I see this card. And I feel like because it's in reverse, there's a lot of like imbalance happening in this person's life. I feel like maybe focusing more on like the bigger picture and less on the smaller things happening might benefit as well. Like, I also feel like taking the time to like get a new hobby might be beneficial. Then again, I feel like there's also a lot of stagnation happening. Like, whereas starting new hobbies can be difficult for this person because they don't always like go through or finish it, and I know like I'm guilty of that myself. So I feel like the message here, I don't know, this is an interesting card. Like, I don't know why this card just like really unsettles me for some reason, but I definitely think the message here is that progress can be made even if it's like being made slowly. And like, definitely take the time to make sure that you are in a comfortable place with yourself before you move on to like trying to tackle big challenges. I feel like your guides really need you to work on your energy and like make sure that you're balancing out things in your life better. I feel like you're someone who might have like a chaotic life or like tend to be hectic, maybe like in your head, or like your outward physical world is hectic for you, but there's definitely chaos is what I'm feeling, which like isn't that well depicted in the spread, but I'm really like getting that vibe that there's just like some chaos happening. I would definitely take the time to make sure that you're taking care of things that should be taken care of and not putting off important things as well. I feel like that's another thing that this person has a tendency to do, is like put off things that are like are immediate or important or require your attention at that time. Just to make sure that you're really protecting your energy too. This person could also be like maybe like an empath and soak up other people's energy in a sense. So just make sure that you're protecting your energy, make sure you're renewing it often, as the message that I'm definitely getting is really important. And also making sure that you're taking things like one at a time and making sure you're taking care of the important things and like making sure you're seeing the bigger picture. So that seems like the message I'm getting. I think they also are like trying to make sure you know that everything will work out fine, but it's just making sure that you're like taking the steps necessary to set yourself up for success. So I feel like if you're someone, I'm sorry I say I feel like a lot, but it's true, it's what I feel like. But yeah, this could definitely be someone who procrastinates a lot too, is what I'm seeing as well. So if you do procrastinate a lot, that is something that you should probably be working on, just to like help boost yourself forward more. Not saying that it's like going to drag you down or like ruin your life, because that's definitely not the case. It's just something that I think would like benefit you, is making sure that you're getting things done and like not starting things that you aren't going to finish. I think it'll like overall improve your quality of life and like make you happier as a person. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for this spread. So hopefully this resonated, and if it didn't, I'm really sorry. But yeah. So moving on to pile number 2. And put the stone up there. So Judgment in reverse. Here, I'll show the card. The Hanged Man in reverse. 7 of Cups in reverse. What are reverse cards? 10 of Wands. This one is not in reverse. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So there's a lot of reverse cards going on, and also a lot of like 10s. Don't know if... I feel like you're someone who might see the number 10 a lot. Most likely. 10 and 7s, I feel like, are common. Maybe even the number 17 itself is something that you might see a lot. I feel like that's an important number. Maybe a lot of X's as well. So that could be something your spirit guides use to communicate. And if you haven't noticed that, you might like look out for that and see if you see a lot of like 10s or 7s, because that could be what your spirit guides use to communicate with you. So with this spread, I'm getting the vibe that this person might be entering like a new stage in their life. I'm not quite sure. I feel like a new stage in their life could be coming about. I feel like there's also maybe some like lack of commitment happening, like not like per se in like a relationship, but just like in general. I feel like this person might be like unhappy with the way their life is going so far. Like something, or there's some situation occurring that is making them unhappy. And I feel like this person isn't quite sure how to handle the situation. And I feel like maybe the guides here are trying to reach out to give advice. I feel like, actually, I think what's happening here is this person is an overachiever. Like, I know I just took a drastic jump from, like, one thing to another thing. Like, I understand I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I definitely think that this is someone who goes out of their way to, like, impress other people. And, like, I'm not saying that in, like, a negative light. I'm saying that this is someone who probably puts over-the-top effort into things that they do. I feel like if you pick this deck, you're someone that, like, when you get work or, like, a job that you have to finish, you do it, whether you want to do it or not, and then you, like, overdo it to maybe compensate for something. Like, maybe you have a lacking self-confidence within yourself, and so you overcompensate for that lack of confidence by overdoing your work, like overdoing the quality of the work that you do. Like if you're someone who's not confident in the way you look, you might try to like make up for it by doing more in like the workplace or like at school. I also feel like you are someone who definitely likes getting gratification from what you do. I feel like if you're someone who's gonna put in a bunch of effort, you want to like receive effort back. Like I feel like you're someone who will like complete something, but you want people to notice what you did and like be impressed by it. like, per se, you were going to, like, write an essay for a class. You would write the essay and you would, like, complete all the requirements, but then you would go overboard and, like, do more than that. Like, maybe write an extra page or something and, like, hope that the teacher notices all the effort you put in. Sorry if I seem distracted. Someone just knocked on my door, so I'm, like, listening. But, yeah. I feel like you're definitely someone who puts in a lot of effort into everything they do, and you definitely like getting gratification from it. And there's not really anything wrong with that, but I'm seeing, like, what your guides want you to know is that you need to, like, appreciate what you're doing on your own. Like, you need to appreciate the things that you've done and feel accomplished within yourself because you know that you did it, and whether or not anyone else notices that you did it, you still did it. You know, like, I feel like that's what your guides want you to know. And they also want you to know that, like, they see what you're doing and they think that you're doing great. I feel like the big message here is to make sure that you're doing more things for yourself. If you're not doing it for yourself, and then you're not really getting a lot of benefit out of it. And there's nothing wrong with doing other things for other people, because that's not what I'm saying. Like, go ahead and do things for other people, but at some point you need to do things for yourself too. And I feel like you're someone who really just does things to, like, impress, or, like, you really want people to notice you in a sense. I feel like maybe there was a lack of an adult or, like, authority figure growing up that, like, would give you the congratulations or, like, say I'm proud of you a lot, maybe. Or maybe you felt the need to always, like, impress a certain adult growing up, and that was, like, a really, like, stressful situation for you, and so now, like, you feel the need to always overcompensate, or maybe you're still in that situation. But it wouldn't hurt you to, like, do things that you like doing and, like, do things in moderation. Like, the other thing I'm seeing here is it's better to, like, put effort into multiple things and get them all done than just pick and choose, like, 2 things and overdo the effort and then still have, like, 5 more things to finish, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, as long as you're doing your best and you're doing the things you need to do, then there's nothing wrong with, like, doing, like, this outstanding work in moderation. So you're definitely a hard worker. You're definitely someone who overcompensates for something. You're definitely someone who really looks for, like, perfection. Definitely a perfectionist is what I'm getting. Another message I'm seeing here, and I don't know if this is, like, I don't think this is for everyone. I think this is just for a few select people. There are some people who are caught up in, like, their little fantasy world, in a sense. Like, if you're someone who feels like you're, like, disconnected from reality, that's something that you should be more aware of. And I think your guides are trying to say, like, you need to step more into your reality and, like, focus on your now self. And, like, make sure you're doing things that are benefiting for your future. Because this person tends to, like, create a fantasy of how they want their life to go and try to live it that way, but really the best thing you can do is, like, adjust to your life and try to make it better, at least for the time being. This is not saying your life isn't going to turn out the way you want it to. It's just saying for right now, rather than, like, trying to force your life into being something it's not, it would be good if you could adjust to your life and then slowly add the changes and not just bombard yourself with changes, you know? Make sure you're staying in your own reality. Make sure you're staying in your own head, because it gets hard to stay focused on one thing and one goal sometimes. It's hard to, like, make sure you're doing what's best for yourself a lot. So just make sure that you're not too, like, caught up in something else. Make sure you're, like, really living your life for you. Make sure you're living your life as you, is the other thing. So, yeah. That's all I really have for this pile. I feel like I could have gone on and on, but I've already talked a lot about this person. I just really got a lot of messages from that pile. So I hope that resonated with someone. Now we are moving on to this one. Pile number 3. There's the stone. So let's lay out these cards. We have the Emperor. Sorry, the sun, like, is setting, so the lighting is getting really bad. Four of Wands in reverse. Knight of Pentacles. Four of Swords. King of Cups and Nine of Swords. So immediately the energy I'm getting from this person is very intense. If you pick this deck, this spread, you are probably someone who is really intense. You got a lot of energy going on. Wow, this is intense, not gonna lie. I really feel this person. I really feel the energy resonating from this person. Right off the bat, I'm definitely saying this is someone who has a lot of self-strength. We've got a lot of strong figures in this spread. So, and a lot of swords, which normally represent pretty strong-willed people, strong authoritative people. I feel like this is someone who isn't necessarily overly worried. You face your challenges pretty head on. I feel like when something tends to go wrong, you are easy and quick to resolve the issue. I feel like though recently there might be an issue arising that you're unsure of how to deal with, or maybe you just feel a little bit lost. I'm not sure if this is representing an issue arising, or if this is just someone that feels a little lost, maybe a little bit disconnected from themselves. I can already tell this is someone who is very level-headed, very cool-headed. To be honest, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but I'm getting heavy dragon energy from this. And I'm someone myself who resonates with that and understands how that feels. So I definitely can pick up when I feel someone with heavy dragon energy. So if you pick this spread, I would honestly recommend looking into dragon magic, or just the draconian side of things, because it's very interesting and I feel like it's something that this person would resonate with a lot. Or it could be that this person might have a dragon spirit guide, which is very likely, because that's some heavy energy going on. I feel like this person might even be a fire sign, or just someone very intense, honestly. It doesn't need to be a fire sign. You don't need to resonate with dragon stuff. I'm not saying that's necessary. I'm just saying it's possible. But this is a very intense person. And not intense in the way that, they're hyper. But, I feel like you're someone who's very, very, level-headed. You're very chilled out. You're very comfortable within yourself, in a sense. You're comfortable with the way you think. You're comfortable with the way you act a lot. I feel like this is someone who might have some hidden anger issues, though. Despite being very level-headed, I feel like that's a certain trait you've developed because you realize that you have these issues, and so you've learned how to make them to your advantage, in a sense. So you don't really like when people mess with you, and when they do mess with you, you're ready to go to war. But more than that, you're just very easy to let things go. Rather than even riding the wave, I feel like you almost have this control over the wave, in a sense. I feel like you're just a very assertive person, which is really good. And I feel like your guides are quite similar to that. They're very assertive. And I feel like you're someone who, when you receive messages from your guides, rather than seeing them in numbers or synchronicity a lot of people see, I feel like you almost just get a shove or a push from them to be doing something. Maybe one day you're just doing something and then you just get this sudden intense urge to go do something else and you can't explain it. I feel like that's how your guides get you to do stuff, how they communicate with you. So if you haven't really noticed that, now is the time to start thinking about it and see if you notice it, those weird intense urges or those random thoughts in your head. That could definitely be a way your guides communicate, because I feel like because you are an assertive person, they come at you with an assertive way of making you do things, an assertive way of guidance. Your guides tend to be very dominant. I think the message here for you, though, is to make sure that you're staying, like, controlled, I guess. Make sure that you're keeping in contact with them, too. I noticed that this is someone who may not be super in touch spiritually, which is okay, but it's always good to check in every now and then and make sure that you're on the same plane as them, because that will really improve your life. Like, it'll make things easier, and it'll make making decisions easier, because even though you try to come off as confident, like you try to come off as you're really confident in the decisions you make, sometimes I feel like you're not entirely sure. And I feel like being more in touch with your guides will help you be more sure. And I think the thing you need to do as well is, like, make sure that you are taking time to really know your goals and know your morals and what you stand for, because from this spread I can tell you're going to be someone who is going to be put in, like, powerful positions, or maybe you already are in, like, a somewhat powerful position. And you need to be, like, ready to make hard decisions. I can definitely see that coming your way, or maybe you've already had to make hard decisions. Just, like, try to be comfortable and confident enough in your ability, because you are definitely a level-headed person, and even though you might doubt, like, the choices you make a lot, they are generally good choices. I feel like you try to come off as very confident around other people, even if you aren't. But nobody really sees through that facade, so I think you can just keep up what you're doing for the most part, but try to, like, feel more comfortable within, like, yourself mentally, and, like, try to take time to get to know yourself better, and try to, like, maybe calm down a little bit on, like, trying to come off so confidently and, like, intensely, because, like I said, the first thing I felt when I flipped over these cards was, like, the intensity of this person. Like, I feel like this is something that has been built up, maybe from, like, anger being built up, or, like, this intense urgency to do things, almost. Like, I know I said this is a level-headed person, and trust me, it is a very level-headed person, but also very, very intense. So, yeah, if you picked this, that is your message. And I hope that resonated, and I hope that helped. I feel like I could also go on forever about this spread, but I don't want to make this video any longer because it's already 30 minutes. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this reading benefited.